Class 6. In history today we are going to do the chapter Rise of Kingdoms and Republics. Now in the later Vedic period, the large scale use of iron tools helped clear the dense jungles and the forests north of the Ganga. Now in the later Vedic period, people they were used with the iron tools. They started using the iron tools, and with the help of this they started clearing the jungles. And when they cleared the jungles over there, the area became very fertile and crop was grown over there, and very healthy and rich crop grew in these areas. Now, so the Aryans rapidly means in a very fast space, they expanded their territories eastwards. Many settlements came up in eastern UP and northern Bihar. In eastern UP and northern Bihar, many settlements of the Aryans came up. Tribal kingdoms now grew in size and came to be called Janpadas. The tribal kingdoms, they were growing in size and they were called Janpadas. Much of our knowledge about these Janpadas has been derived from literary sources such as the Vedic texts called Brahmanas and the early Buddhist texts. We come to know about these Janpadas, that is the tribal kingdoms, from literary sources such as the Vedic texts, the Brahmanas and the Buddhist texts. Now, the archaeological sources include remains excavated at. Now, we also come to know about these Janpadas from the literary sources, that is the Buddhist texts, the Brahmanas and the Vedic texts, and from archaeological sources. The archaeological sources include remains which have been excavated. Excavated means to dig deep into the ground, at the Purana Killa in Delhi and at sites such as Hastinapur and Atranjikhera in UP. The remains of pottery found at the sites are of two main types. The remains of pottery which have been found at these sites, these are of two types. A type of grey pottery with painted designs known as painted greyware, and red pottery. These have been found, and the animal and plant remains show that the people reared mainly cattle and cultivated crops such as barley, wheat, rice, pulses, sugarcane, and peas. All this we come to know from the archaeological site. The remains of these grains have been found, and the animal and plants remains tell us about these things. And then we also find two different type of pottery, the remains of two different types of pottery, that is the red pottery and the gray painted pottery. Now, the republic and monarchies we are going to study in this chapter after the Janpadas. A Janpada could be a republic. A Janpada could be a republic. What is a republic? Republic is a state having an elected ruler or rulers. And a monarchy, it is a state ruled by a single hereditary ruler. Now, as all of you know that India, our country is a republic. It is, we have the leaders elected by the people. So a republic, a Janpada, it could be a republic. It could have elected leader or leaders, or it could also be a monarchy ruled by a single hereditary ruler. That means if the father is the king, automatically the son becomes the king. For example, the Janpada of Vaji in northern Bihar was a republic, while the Janpada of Magad in southern Bihar was a monarchy. So one was a republic and the other, Vaji, was a republic, and in Bihar we have a monarchy. Now, Janpadas gained control over large areas. These Janpadas, the tribal kingdoms, they gained control over large areas, and then they were known as Mahajanpadas. There were altogether 16 Mahajanpadas. There were altogether how many? 16 Mahajanpadas. Now, there were frequent wars among the Mahajanpadas. Ultimately, Magad emerged as the major power. All the Janpadas, they gained control over large areas and they were known as Mahajanpadas, and they were in total there were 16 Mahajanpadas, and there were frequent wars on and off. There were wars among the Mahajanpadas. Ultimately, Magad emerged as the major power. Now, conditions in the Mahajanpadas. What were the conditions in the Mahajanpadas? And we are going to read about agriculture first. Agriculture prospered in most of the Mahajanpadas. In the Mahajanpadas, agriculture prospered. The crop was fertile. It was rich, and it was being sold in the market. People were using it at home also as a food crop and cash crop. It was rich as they were located in fertile areas. Why agriculture prospered in these Mahajanpadas? Because it was done in the fertile areas where there was lots of water and the sand was fertile. The republics, however, were mostly in less fertile or hilly regions. The republics mostly they were in less fertile or in the hilly areas where the crop could not be grown easily. Iron came to be used widely in the making of plowshares, hoes, and various other kinds of farming tools. So, iron was used in making plowshares and hoes and various other kinds of farming tools. You know what is a hoe? It is a long handled, hoe is a long handled tool with a thin metal blade. Okay, it is a tool with a thin metal blade, and plowshares is a piece of farming equipment. Plowshare is a piece of farming equipment with one or more blades. Many canals and wells were dug to improve irrigation. The farmers learned to use manure. The farmers they also learned to use manure. Manure is animal dung which is used for fertilizing land. Manure is animal dung used for fertilizing land. So the farmers they learned to use manure, and to grow more rice they replaced the earlier method of scattering seeds with transplantation. The earlier method was of scattering seeds while growing rice, but now they use transplantation, that is transfer the plant from one place to another place. That is orderly planting of saplings in the field. The improved farming techniques improve the quality and quantity of crops produced, and generally two crops were grown in a year. So because of this, because there were so many different methods now done in agriculture, so that because of that agriculture improved, the land was fertile, the crop was good, and in a year two crops were grown. Now, there was a rise of cities at this time. The production of surplus crops allowed some people to specialize in crafts. Now, because the crops were grown in surplus, there was abundance of crops, and because of that, people got more time, and many people they specialized in crafts such as metalworking, carpentry, and pot making. The exchange of surplus crops and goods manufactured by the craftsmen led to trade, because surplus crops were produced, and then of course the craftsmen they were also doing their work very nicely. So because of that, trade also flourished. Cities like Patliputra, Kaushambi, and Ujjain they grew around centers of craft, trade, and administration. So these cities, the major cities at that time, they grew around centers of trade and administration. They grew around centers of trade, craft, and administration. So this we read about the agriculture at that time, and now we are going to read about the administration. The Mahajanpadas, the administration during the Mahajanpadas. The Mahajanpadas had rich resources. Resources is a stock or supply of materials. Resources means a stock or supply of materials. So the Mahajanpadas, they had rich resources which enabled their rulers to maintain elaborate system of administration. Because they had rich resources, so because of that, the rulers they could maintain an elaborate system of administration. Elaborate means a very nice, huge, and competent system. The Mahajanpadas were mostly monarchies. Monarchies means ruled by hereditary rulers. The king maintained a large, well equipped, and regularly paid army during war and peace. During war and peace, the king he maintained a very good army which was well paid, well equipped, and it was both there. Of course, during war he maintained the army, but during peace also they were given their regular salaries and they were well equipped. This was to enable him to control the Gangetic plain, which most rulers of the Mahajanpadas wanted to control. Why he did it? Because he wanted to control this Gangetic plain, which was a very fertile area, and other rulers also wanted to conquer it and control it. Ministers were appointed to help in the administration. During that time, many ministers were appointed to help in the administration. Brahmins were important and powerful, and the king often gave them villages for which they did not have to pay tax. So at that time also, the Brahmins they had a supreme position, and the king gave them villages, and they did not have to pay any taxes. A village was administered by the village headman who had direct access to the king. Access means he could go and meet the king directly. The villagers themselves checked any misuse of authority by the headman. If the headman did any, he misused his authority, he was checked directly by the village people, the villagers. A Mahajanpada was usually ruled from its capital city. There was intense rivalry among the Mahajanpadas. There was intense rivalry among the Mahajanpadas. Rivalry is a person or thing competing with one another. Rivalry means when you're competing with one another. So there was intense rivalry among the Mahajanpadas. They were always, one Mahajanpada was competing with the other one, and it usually resulted in wars. The capital cities were therefore fortified. Most of the capital cities, they were fortified, and they were strengthened against enemy attacks by high walls built around them. Fortifications were usually made of mud, stone, wood, and brick. The fortification, the forts, they were made of these mud, stone, and bricks. So the capital cities were always protected and fortified. Now, what was the condition of the revenue at that time? Tax collectors collected taxes from the people. The tax collectors, they collected taxes from the people, and taxes could be paid in money or in kind. In money also you could pay the taxes, and also in kind. What is kind? That is in form of, not in form of money, but in the form of goods. Land tax, it fetched the maximum revenue. A maximum revenue was got from the land tax. A share or 1/6 of the agricultural produce had to be given as tax. Share, which was called bhaga at that time, and it was 1/6 of the total agricultural produce, it was given as tax. Now, craftsmen and merchants also had to pay regular taxes. Sometimes taxes had to be paid in the form of unpaid labor. At times, some people, they were poor, they could not pay the taxes, so they had to pay it in the form of unpaid labor. That means they had to work for the person they had to pay the tax to. The revenue collected was spent on paying salaries to the people in administration, on public works like construction of roads, and on maintaining the standing army. So, for these purposes, the taxes were used. Now, what was the condition of trade? Good roads encouraged trade even over long distances. The roads were maintained, they were good, and because of that, there was trade over long distances. Overseas trade also gained importance. Overseas trade means trade with other countries. It also gained importance at that time. Money in the form of punch mark coins made of copper and silver began to be used in trade. So coins which were made of copper and silver and were punch marked, they were used in trade. Earlier trading was also done through barter. Barter is goods exchanged for goods. Barter system means good exchange for goods. Merchants and craftsmen, they involved in the same trade of craft formed guilds or shrenis, and these guilds regulated the quality, distribution, and prices of goods produced. So these guilds, they looked after these things, the quality and the production of the things produced and the distribution of the things. Social organization. Caste rigidities increased. Caste rigidities increased means that caste system became very strict. Strict rules governed each caste. Intermarriage and interdining between the castes was not allowed. Imagine, you could not interdine also with a person of another caste, you could not mingle, and of course intercaste marriages were not allowed. The trades and craftsmen of the Shrenis became hereditary. The trades and crafts of the Shrenis. If you belong to one trade, your family followed one kind of business, then you had to also follow it. So it became hereditary. So children, we have done all this about the rise of kingdoms and republics. In this chapter, we have read about the Mahajanpadas. And then the second part of this chapter, I will be sending in the next video. Till then, you just go through it and just try to revise it. Thank you and bye-bye.